between the conservatives and the liberals. And guess what? In the middle of that, a mobilized and organized black vote with progressive alliances can decide the government in this election. What we did in the United States was, and we had a lot of help, because you couldn't have created a better figure to make it clear to everybody than George Bush. George Bush was so bad that people that never dreamed of supporting anyone progressive, less known of color, just couldn't take it anymore. Here's a man that saw weapons of mass destruction that wasn't there in Iraq, that wasn't there in Iraq, but couldn't see a hurricane in New Orleans. Just being angry was not enough. Just critiquing him was not enough. We had to organize and mobilize and galvanize and come up with the right strategy, and we won. Now, all the way until the polls closed, people said that will never happen. All the way until the last vote counted, many blacks said they'll find a way to take it. You must always fight against your own doubt. And you must always fight against your own cynicism. And you fight for what's right, knowing you could lose. But if you don't fight, you're guaranteed to lose. Now, there are those that know that as soon as you fight, they're going to fight back. They're going to castigate you. They're going to scandalize you and call your name. But that's part of the battle. And I would rather be controversially fighting for liberation than to sit with everybody on my side because I'm a self-effacing, feared person that's afraid to stand up for my own rights. When everybody's on your side, it's usually because you haven't taken a side. If everybody in your circle, everyone in your workplace gets along with you, it may be because you don't stand for anything. People say to me all the time, Reverend Al, why are they always after you? Because I'm always after them. Nobody bothering me because you ain't bothering nobody. Why would anybody bother you? Sitting home, sipping tea, watching BBC. But if you engage the system, it will engage you. But you can win. You can take the blows. Look what they did to Barack Obama. Went after his minister, distorted his minister's sermons. Went after his home deal. Went after this. Went after that. He kept going. And because he refused to play in and be distracted and allow the distortions to knock him off his focus, then they said, oh, he's just too cool. He's unflappable. No, he was focused because he knew coming out that they were going to attack. He already calculated I would take the attacks if I achieved the goal. So yes, they're going to attack your leaders. Keep your eye on the goal. Because the goal is that you cannot sit in a nation with the numbers you have and not be respected and regarded commensurate with those numbers to have the same life that everyone else has in the United States. One of the most crippling things about it, though, is they've also convinced us to accept secondary status. It's bad for people to hold you down. It's worse when you adjust to being down. And then they give us a culture of celebrating being down, where they now have trick lead our children into feeling that they can't achieve anything. I look at all of the icons and thinkers and scientists and philosophers that brought us as a people throughout the African diaspora to where we are. And now we get to the 21st century, and we now want to be thugs and hoodlums. Who decided that our goal and ambition now was to be hoodlums? One guy in the States came to me, he changed his name to Guy in the music business. Changed his name to Guy. They put him on trial for some allegations. He came to me and said, "Will you please stand with me?" I said, "You changed your name to Gotti, not God. Your name is Gotti. You are in the third floor defending yourself. Gotti's upstairs trying to prove he ain't Gotti. The gangsters are trying not to be gangsters, and you want to be a gangster." This thug mentality is a social trick to hold back the future of our race. How did we go from standing behind black heroines and sheroes like Rosa Parks, like Winnie Mandela, to now where we make hit records calling our women hoes and bitches? What happened to that? Or rather, you don't get into that. I have free speech. No, you don't. You're not allowed to castigate any race but us. I got into an argument with some of my gangster rapper friends. And they said they had free speech. I told them, you can't go in the studio and cut a record against anybody but us. You go in the studio and cut a record against the Irish, it's hate speech, and they rap. You cut it against Catholics, hate speech, and they rap. Cut it against Jews, hate speech, and they rap. So let's get it right. Say something about Irish, hate speech. Say something about Jews, hate speech. Say something about Catholics, hate speech. Call blacks niggas, free speech. If you got free speech, then why aren't you free to talk about everybody? Because it's a social trick to beat us down. Because if you call yourself an N-word, you're going to behave that way. One of them got on BET one night. I know some of y'all sneak and watch BET. Had a debate with me. I said that I understand language, we've all used it, but we must refrain from that. It's self-depreciating. Oh, he had a fit. Had a nigger fit on it. Just nigger. I'm going to say what I want. Nigger. About 7 weeks after that, I was traveling somewhere, picked up the newspaper, he'd been arrested. 3 days later, they called me from our headquarters in Harlem and said, "Reverend, this particular artist is on the phone, he wants to talk to you." I said, "Connect him in." They connected him to my cell phone. I said, "How you doing?" He said, "I'm not doing too well." I said, "What happened?" He said, "I got busted." I said, "Yeah, I read about it." He said, "Yeah, man, I need your help." I said, "What you need me to do?" He said, "They violated my civil rights." I told them, niggas ain't got no civil rights. How you define yourself is how you will confine yourself. That's right. And if you've got to act like a fool in order to get along and be accepted, you're not being accepted anyway. The self-defacing caricature that you develop yourself into is being accepted. And the stereotypical inferiority that others must see in order to accept you is what's happening. And then others